Guys, I did it again. I'm actually a disgrace. Apologies for that extra long intro. That should not have been the case. But sometimes I just dropped my PlayStation controller as well. Oh shit, I hope it's not broken. What a chaotic start to this stream, man. God damn. Big up to everyone. First and foremost, guys, big up to everyone that's locked in. You already know what it is. If you came over from the AFCON stream, that we were just watching that crazy finish to that crazy game. Yeah, it was mad. I need to change my intro song, guys, because every time I play the intro, I just forget to come off the intro because of the song, because of the intro song. I just forget, and I just go on my phone and I'm just nodding along to the intro, and then I'm like, oh my god, I'm live. And I've been live for a minute and a half, and people are literally just watching this intro. But big up to everyone, man. You guys know what it is. It's been a minute. It's been a minute since I've done one of these transfer talks. It's been a minute, and the reason why it's because there's not really much United stuff to talk about. That's why. That's the reason why I ain't really done much. Not really seeing anything coming in for Manchester United. Definitely could see maybe someone leaving. Of course, we're going to talk about that as well. We're going to quickly touch on, other moves happening in the Prem as well. And I got Carrick watch right now because I can see that the Middlesbrough game and Chelsea game it hasn't started yet, but it'll be on soon. And they're 1-0 up in their leg for the Carabao Cup final. Could be a Middlesbrough versus, I think, Liverpool maybe final. I don't know. We'll see. But big up to everyone. You guys know what it is. As always, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. You can join the membership club. It's the pinned comment in the chat. You get your badges, you get your emojis, you get your custom member content. MUFC said before the stream started, the Saudis are rich, not blind. I have a theory, right, that every time, because there's a lot of United players linked to moves into Saudi right now. Sancho's been linked to a move before he obviously went to Dortmund. But most recently, the new one is a double swoop for Sancho and Antony. And then on top of that, Varane, Casemiro also obviously have been linked as well. And most recently today, Aaron Wan-Bissaka linked to a move to Al Nassr. Quite a few ex-Manchester United players are there in the likes of Alex Telles and Cristiano Ronaldo. So if this Wan-Bissaka, if there's anything concrete in it, I'm not too sure. But obviously, transfer window is just about a lot of speculation, 99% of the time. But there is no way that I see the Saudis going shopping in Europe and coming to shop at Manchester United to buy that many players. That to me don't make sense. That doesn't make sense. Saudis have a lot of money. The Saudi Premier League has a lot of money. However, I'm sure they're a bit more selective in the type of players that they target. And on top of that, I'm not too sure if most of these players would actually go because, we're seeing a slow influx of players who have gone in the last year or two wanting to return back to play in Europe. Henderson, obviously, the biggest talk this transfer window. But on top of that as well, I think Benzema is not really happy. Benzema's not really happy, and Norway. I think there's quite a few players that want to leave. Obviously, Cristiano Ronaldo has been there too in the horns of the Saudi league, and you know what? As someone who watches the Saudi league, I watch it occasionally. And I keep up with certain teams because of certain people that I know. So I keep up with the league for that reason. I do think it's an interesting league, but I do think the gap between the bigger clubs and the smaller clubs, I think, is quite evident. Of course, if you don't know, then the Saudi Investment Fund, which is owned by the state, they own 4 of the biggest clubs now in Saudi, which includes Al Nassr, it includes Al Hilal, it includes Al Ittihad, and I can't remember the last one. I can't remember the other club. But if they're going out sniffing, going out looking for players to sign in the January window, which quite a few clubs actually have brought players, I just don't know why they would come to Old Trafford. I don't know why they'd come to Manchester United to buy players when United need to get rid of players. I mean, and I say that, but even Almiron, who's recently linked to a move to Saudi Arabia, I mean, Newcastle already have that Saudi tie. So if anytime Newcastle want to sell players, I'm not going to lie, they're just going to look to Saudi. They're going to look at Al Ittihad. They're going to look at Al Nassr. They're going to look at Al Hilal. They're going to be like, yo, Saudi Investment Fund, come help us. And that's exactly what they're going to do. And you know what? They're trying to offload players Trippier, one of them, who might be leaving to go to Europe. But Almiron has been linked to a move to Saudi. I think Callum Wilson has as well. So obviously the more older players that they're looking to sell. I think Saudi are looking for shirt sellers. A Sancho would sell shirts, and I know you lot probably think that's a blasphemous statement from me, but Sancho is a name. Wan-Bissaka, not so much. Playing ability, absolutely. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, absolutely. When it comes to playing ability, actually, is it really that? It's difficult to compare a winger and a defender. I'm not gonna lie, it's a bit difficult to compare a winger and a defender. But Aaron Wan-Bissaka is a player that United are trying to offload, have rumored to want to offload. And I don't know if you guys remember a couple of weeks ago, maybe it was like a week ago, where it was, I think it was Samuel Luckhurst. Don't know why I listened to him. I don't, but he was reporting saying how basically having a dig at Wan-Bissaka's character and his not reluctance, but his short answers when it comes to him doing media duties, and how one time he did an interview with over 50 questions and it took less than 10 minutes because he gave short and abrupt answers. Not everybody's made for the media life, yeah? Not everybody's made to do media duties, yeah? And I think it's not a reflection on the kind of person he is, and I don't think also it's a reflection on the sort of player that he is. So I don't know why Lockhurst reported that, but it seems like every time that a player, there's something negative coming out about a player, is bam, within a week they're linked to a move to Saudi. I don't know again how true it is. It's just speculation. But can I just say that when I was looking for pictures for my thumbnail, yeah, I love the internet. I love the internet because within a few minutes of the news, I'm seeing pictures of Wan-Bissaka in Al Nassr shirt. Shout out to whoever it was that made my thumbnail. Shout out to them. But I'm literally Casemiro. I've seen pictures of him in Al Nassr shirt. Raphael Varane, seen it. Anthony, no, because they don't want him. I'm joking. I don't know if they want him. Let me not speculate on what I don't know if it's true or not. But one thing I will say is that Saudi got money to spend. Saudi have money to spend. United have players to sell. I don't know if it makes sense. It don't make sense, but I just don't see why Saudi would look at some of the United players with the big wages and think, yeah, we'll help you guys. We'll take that. I mean, they're willing to give the big wages to the likes of Karim Benzema, etc. But that's Ballon d'Or winner who now wants to leave himself. And I'm now seeing pictures of him in a United. I've seen pictures of him in a United shirt. I've seen pictures of him in a Chelsea shirt. I've seen pictures of him in an Arsenal shirt. I've seen pictures of him in every possible Premier League shirt right now. And reportedly, Lyon are another team that's looking at him. I know Lyon are looking at Arnett Danjuma, and they're really pushing for that. So I can see that happening in the next coming days, especially with the window coming to a close. And I know that he wants regular football or consistent football. He's not playing too much at Everton. So that's another one. Big up to Lil Yo-Yo in the chat. Says they can afford the wages too. That's true. They can definitely afford the wages, but I think they're more selective with the kind of big wages that they give out. I think inevitably, when I say the big wages they give out, I think whatever they give to players there, regardless, is big compared to what they would earn in Europe. But I think them big contracts are reserved for the superstars in it. That's reserved for the superstars. I mean, let me see. Ruben Neves went there last in the thing. Ruben Neves salary. Let's see what he's on. He's on 300k a week. God damn. Let me go to let's look at Al Hilal salaries, just out of curiosity, because I just want to see what they pay their players. And they've got a lot of players. They got obviously Neymar, they got Koulibaly, they got Milinkovic-Savic, they got Mitrovic, they got Ruben Neves, they've just signed Renan Lodi, and then they've got a lot of one of my favorite players from the World Cup, Mohamed Kano, one of my favorite players, plays for Saudi, phenomenal player, and he's doing really well in the Asia Cup as well. But these men are on peanuts compared to what these other big players are. Yassine Bono from Sevilla, Moroccan goalkeeper. This is what they earn per a week, and this is gross. So this is, well, it's before tax, but also they're not getting taxed anyways. Neymar is on 2 million, just under 2 million a week. Koulibaly is on just under 700k a week. Milinkovic-Savic is on just under 500k a week. Mitrovic is under 500k a week. Malcolm is on just under 350k a week. What's it called? Ruben Neves is on just under 330 a week. And Renan Lodi, who just signed with them, literally just signed with them like a week ago. He's on 200, just over 200k, and Yassine Bono is on 200k. The players that have been there for a substantial amount of time, they still make money. Yeah, they still make money, but just nowhere near these man. Mohamed Kano, the player that I was just referencing to you guys, is on 20k a week. He's on 20k a week. Salim Al-Dasari, do you know who that is? Do you know who Salim Al-Dasari is? He's the guy that scored the goal against Argentina in the World Cup. If you guys remember, left winger cut in and he put it in top corner. That brother's on 20k a week. He's on 20k a week. And he's a big star in Saudi. Like, he's a superstar in Saudi. He is to Saudis what Ronaldo is basically to Portuguese people. He's quite big. But I can't believe that they're clearly dishing out all these salaries left, right, and center. Let's look at Al Nassr. Obviously, we know Ronaldo earns the most. We of course know Ronaldo earns nearly 4 million a week. Sadio Mane earns just over 750k a week. Emerick Laporte, another player that wants to leave the Saudi league, he earns just under 500k a week. Brozovic earns just under 500k a week. Seko Fofana has had a pretty decent AFCON until his team got knocked out. He's on just under 300k. Alex Telles is on 160 a week. Ospina is on 70k a week. So that's still big money, bro. That's still big money. They could absolutely, you know what? I know I said that they probably wouldn't want to pay people, but let's see what Al Ittihad players are on. Let's see what clearly Al Nassr and Al Hilal have the biggest. Yeah, they got the biggest salaries because Karim Benzema earns just under 2 million a week. And then after that, N'Golo Kante is the closest one with just under 500k a week. Fabinho just under 300k. Jota is on 225. So that's pricey. That's very pricey. Let me go back to Al Hilal because their salary stuff was mad. Neymar, Benzema, and Ronaldo all earn the same amount. So all the players that United are linked to, it's not funny. Pocket watching is funny. Listen, I love looking at what other teams play their clubs because it makes me realize United are not just the only unhinged club to pay big salaries. Of course, in Saudi, inevitably they pay a lot for, not just in football, guys, in a lot of professional industries. They pay good money, and obviously they sell the idea of it being no tax. But it's only a matter of time, I think, before tax comes into it, because the UAE, United Arab Emirates, used to be similar, where they had no tax, and then they introduced tax at a later date. So I would be surprised if Saudi soon start to introduce that. I'm not gonna lie. I low-key wouldn't be surprised. But sports washing doesn't come cheap. It's costing them a lot. It's costing them a lot. The Man United players that they are linked to, I'm not a hater, guys. I'm not a hater, but I just don't see them going. And I don't see United striking a deal. I feel like United are actually putting out stories to the media to basically push up some of these people's prices or attract interest because they wanted to pay, I think it was 20 million for Emerson Royale, which was rejected. Guys, they're coming to Man United to bid 10 million for Wan-Bissaka. They ain't bidding more than, if they bidded 20 million for Emerson Royale, all due respect, I think Wan-Bissaka is better than Emerson Royale. But also, I don't think, again, all due respect, I don't think Wan-Bissaka is that washed to be going out to play in Saudi. I just think United don't want him. I look at the fact that United gave Dallo a long-term contract and then want to sell Wan-Bissaka. Which is interesting to me because I would keep Wan-Bissaka. We've also been linked to Denzel Dumfries, bro. We have been linked to Denzel. Do you know that, man? The first ever time I saw us linked to Denzel Dumfries, I think it was under Ollie. It was under Ollie. Do you know how many things I've done in my life since then? And we are still linked to him. It's like United just, recycle the same 3, 4, 5 names in transfer windows for us to just keep being linked to them, because I cannot believe. I remember after the World Cup, the links were heavy again. Then it died down a little bit. Then it came back. Then it died down a little bit. Then it came back, and now it's back again. It is back again. When are we going to catch a break of being linked to him? Don't get me wrong. I think Denzel Dumfries, I think he's decent, but I don't rate him like that. I personally don't rate him like that. If we were to sell anyone to Saudi, I'm not gonna lie, if we were to sell anyone to Saudi, I hope it would be Anthony. Because I think, and Onana, I wish we sell him as well. You know how like Chelsea sold Mendy? Yeah, the way that Chelsea sold Mendy, I wish we did that, because I'll be honest, I like Onana, but I just genuinely do not think, I just genuinely don't think he's gonna improve. And the reason why I say improve, I'm using the term improve, but it's not that I don't think he's gonna improve, but I'm not sold on him. I'm not sold on him. For me, the errors are too much. They have been too much. They continue to be too much. And I just see, you know what? I see the errors getting worse. I'll be honest. I see the errors getting worse. And one thing that bothers me about, and I was saying this earlier on when I was doing the AFCON watch along, yeah, the problem with Onana, I feel like he's got a serious ego, you know. I feel like he's got a proper ego. Like the fact that he felt threatened enough by Bayinda to stay till the Spurs game, and basically he left and joined AFCON late, missed the first game. I just feel like his ego is a bit, and of course, you know, you're not performing well, so inevitably your ego will be a little bit bruised. But I just feel like the talk that he talks and the walk that he walks, the maths is not mathing. The talk and the walk, it's not equaling up. It's not totaling up. It doesn't make sense to me. And that's what annoys me. Of course, you want your players to always back themselves. You want your players to be confident. But sometimes I feel like that confidence comes with a little bit of, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. And you know what someone's going to say in the chat? They're going to say, Mina, how are you not defending a fellow African? I literally, when he came, I said, like, this is iconic for, you know, players from Africa to come and play at Manchester United. This is a big deal. And he's going to make history. And then he's hopefully going to lead the way for many players to come in the future. But I just think he's been so bad. And you know what? If you guys saw Umar Barada, obviously the new CEO that's come in at Manchester United, it's reported that he has an idea that after a year or two, if you basically got 2 years to do well. And if you don't do well, then you're leaving. And that basically means Anthony's 2 years is coming up to an end now. And maybe they're not happy with what they've seen. So he's getting put on the transfer market. And Onana got another year, obviously, after this summer to play good before they start cutting their losses. I think it makes me think that they're going to cut losses with Sancho. I think they're going to cut losses with Bissaka. Amrabat, we already know. Brother ain't staying. Lil Yo-Yo, you might as well send that T-shirt back that you got of Amrabat that I gassed you up to get. And you actually got it. You might as well send that back. Who else is not going to make it under this new regime or this new ownership? I'm trying to think of names, but I think Ahmad still has a shot. Højlund still has a shot. Bruno, I think, will continue to be an important part of the team. Honestly, guys, I think Bruno will continue to be a solid part of the team. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear that. Greenwood, he's done. I think Greenwood will get sold. I think this loan spell is just to kind of lift his value and try get something like 15, 20 million for him. But Bruno Fernandes, I know a lot of you lot don't rate him, or some people don't. Like, I feel frustrated every time I watch Bruno sometimes, like, especially with those type of performances that he does. But I genuinely think that Bruno, with the right instructions and the right, what's the word, like, he's like a dog on a leash. You know, he's like a dog, basically, yeah? And you take him off his leash and he's going to run everywhere. He's going to run everywhere. But you put him on a leash, you can take him where you want to go. Like, that's the easiest ideology. That's the easiest ideology that I can think of. I genuinely think that if Bruno plays more tidy, plays more responsibly, he will not only continue to create chances, but also obviously get assists. And I think he'll be a big part of Manchester United. But, big but, the players around him has to equally be good. He has to equally be good. They have to be good. Right wing, left wing, up top, all of that stuff. And I think we were spoiled with the Bruno that we got when we signed him. I swear he had like record numbers. He had record numbers of assists and goals for a midfielder. And we're still expecting that level. But he came in at what, 26, I think? 25 maybe? I think 25. Yeah, he came at 25 or something. So that peak of his. He came in going into his peak, so we got the best years out of him when we sucked. Basically, is he a player that I think they'll sell immediately? No, I don't think so. Marcus Rashford, I don't think so. It would be a very, very ballsy call if they put Rashford on the transfer market in the summer. I think that would be a very ballsy call, and I don't see it, because also this idea, this selling point of Sir Jim Ratcliffe of, make Manchester great again, or whatever he said, make Manchester, whatever it was, and the idea of having top British talents. Unfortunately, for a lot of people that might not agree with me, Marcus Rashford falls into that bracket. He's Manchester born and bred, academy born and bred. He's a product of the academy that's come up this far into the senior team. So he's an example of what they want. Kobbie Mainoo, following those footsteps, hopefully will be even better than what Marcus Rashford was. But Kobbie Mainoo is following them footsteps. So of course, that is what Marcus Rashford, outside of the football and stuff, the sellable part of him is that. And he's Manchester born and bred. Like, unfortunately, I think that's what's going to keep him at United, on top of the fact that he's a good player. Just, the circumstances this season is just poor. It's just so poor. And I think Ineos came in a bit late. Had they come in earlier, before he got his contract renewal, I think it would have been a different story. If Ineos came in, they might have either sold him, or his salary would not have been at the level at what it is right now. But unfortunately, United are in a situation now where even if they choose to sell him, realistically, what club out there is paying his wages? So either way, United would have to cut their losses somehow. The good thing is he's an academy product. So that's pure profit if they were to sell him. By the way, guys, this is all hypotheticals. This is not me saying that they should sell him, yeah? But if they were to sell him, pure profit. So they might be able to avoid taking a loss. Big up the numbers. Rick Mason says Rashford has set himself up to be untouchable. I don't think he's set himself up. I think it's just it's the trajectory of his career at United has allowed him to be in that position now, because all he's done is work. I don't think any player at a club should be untouchable. I don't think so. I don't think any player, because I think that sets a bad precedent. I genuinely think that, and United also showed under Ten Hag, they showed players like Cristiano Ronaldo wasn't untouchable. They cut ties with him. Ten Hag benched him. Ten Hag tried to give him poverty minutes by sending him on for a few minutes against Spurs. I think it's unfortunate that, it might seem like Rashford's untouchable, but I think it's more so the situation that he finds himself in. The salary, the number of years on his contract. Obviously, on top of that, the fact that he's got credit in the bank, and on top of that, he's Manchester Academy kid. Rashford misses his mates. I saw a conspiracy theory online basically alluding to the fact that he would play better now because his mates are happy now, i.e. Sancho's gone, so Sancho's happy. So he'll play better now. And the reason why he was playing bad is because Sancho was not doing good. I mean, it was a stupid conspiracy theory, but it made me laugh. Maguire gone. I think Maguire's gone this summer. Otherwise, he's getting... Do you think... Okay, I think he would get a contract extension because his contract finishes next summer. So if they go into the next season and he's available on a free and they can't sell him, and they can't sell him in January, it's either they cut their losses with another 80 million signing. That's another 80 million signing gone down the drain. A second one. Is that a second one that's left of... Excuse me, alhamdulillah. Sorry about that, guys. But as I was saying, Pogba left on a free, Maguire leaving on a free. That's two big blockbuster signings that have left on a free. But is that a situation where United are like, yeah, let's just cut our losses? If they can't sell him this summer. But in my opinion, I'm counting on Maguire because he's back now in training. If you've seen the pictures, he's back in training. I'm counting on him to have a explosive end to the second part of the season. And then I'm hoping that he has a good... I'll be rooting for him at the Euros so that United can sell him for a good price, because that will obviously bring his price tag up. That's obviously... And I want England to win the Euros as well. But I'll also be rooting for... I might even get a Maguire England shirt. No, I'm joking. I'm not going to say that. But I'm hoping that he does well at the Euros, just so that that drives his price up. Because honestly, that's the only way I see United kind of selling him. That's the only way that I see United selling him. Rashford is not a professional footballer. Too many things have to be in place for him to perform, in my opinion. This is interesting because, oh yeah, I like Middlesbrough tracksuit outfit. Sorry guys, this is interesting because I feel like as footballers, just in general, like Rashford aside, I feel like footballers need good structure in a team. They need to be playing with good players. Obviously, there's anomalies to that where there's players that have played with bad teams and have been really good. But I think a lot of players in this Man United team, in order to get the best out of them, other players need to be playing to their best. And unfortunately, that's the situation that we find ourselves in. You know, when Rasmus Højlund has had a great Champions League game, yeah, he's been the best player there, and there's been other people around him that have been crap. When Bruno has had his best games in a Manchester United shirt, he's been the best player there, and everyone else around him has been crap. Marcus Rashford last season, another example. David De Gea, another example in the past. I think that's kind of applicable to quite a few players in the fact that things have to be in place for them to perform. But I think the way you get the best out of your players, you have to get the best out of players collectively. That's when you get the best out of your team. But when you get the best out of your players individually, I don't think that works for the team as a whole. I think it just works for the players. Pyramid Scheme says, now we're finished. Imagine thinking, man, with 0 Premier League or UCL titles being untouchable, what credit in the bank? I think he's got credit in the bank from last season. That's what got him his contract extension, number one. Number two, I think he's got credit in the bank from previous seasons at Manchester United where he was putting up numbers. Let's be real. And I think he has credit in the bank because he is what Manchester United want when they say like an academy product, you know, like Class of 99, etc. He is an example of someone that has gone through that path. So that works in his favor because he's come from the academy from 7-8 years old, all the way up to the senior parts of the academy, all the way up into the senior first team. That night in Paris, all of that kind of stuff is quite obvious that that's the credit that he has in the team. Should that be the case? No. Because Cristiano Ronaldo, multiple Champions Leagues, Premier League, Ballon d'Or, all of that stuff. He didn't even have credit in the bank. Of course, his situation is a lot more different because, you know, he went and did an interview and all of that kind of stuff. But just from that sort of perspective, this is where I stand. Players should never have credit in the bank, in my opinion. They should never have credit in the bank. They should never have one up on the club, and they should never be untouchable. I don't care who you are. You could be Ten Hag's child. I don't care. You can be a Glazer Jr. I don't care. You can be anyone. Sir Alex Ferguson's son, when he was at United, he didn't even have credit in the bank just because his dad was Sir Alex Ferguson. It didn't work like that. This ain't no political situation. This is not politics where you get, what's the word? Oh shit. Excuse my language. The word has just gone out of my head. Nepotism. This ain't nepotism. So that shouldn't be the case. He's the highest paid player in the squad, right? That's pretty untouchable. Usually, yes, he's not the highest paid, but he is one of the highest paid. Who is the most highest paid? Let's find out. Who is the most highest paid player. Let's look at Manchester United. Obviously, I feel like it's obvious. I feel like it's obvious who's the most highest paid. Casemiro right now, Varane, and then Marcus Rashford. But from a gross perspective, from gross pay, he is one of the more higher paid players because I think he's got a bonus structure in place. Let me double check. Yes, he's got a bonus structure in place. Sorry. So even though yearly he's on 15 million, which sounds crazy when you say it like that, he's on 15 million a year, a gross payment. He's also got an estimated bonus of around £4 million, depending obviously on how achievable that is. And you know what the funny thing is? He's got the same contract length as Mason Mount is till 2028. Andre Anana till 2028, and then obviously Diogo Dalot as well. Don't you man charge higher taxes to foreigners too? The tax situation here in the UK is interesting. I think in football, you get taxed by HMRC here, and I think they pay tax to their home country, depending on their home country. So like I know if you're like Spanish, you pay taxes to Spain as well. If you want to still be eligible for any sort of government initiatives like healthcare, etc. But yes, they get paid. Footballers get taxed a lot. I remember I saw a pay slip of a footballer on Twitter. I think it was Raheem Sterling. Took his car for a car wash and he left a pay slip in there, and the tax was outrageous. The tax was outrageous, but you're still walking away with millions. You're still walking away with millions after that. And straight up, I'm a manager and they're my players. We'll make sure everyone's okay and won't treat anyone differently. But if they don't perform to his levels, they're gone. That's a good standard to have, in my opinion. I agree, but every player has their personal issues, but they kept it moving. Rashford even said multiple times in interviews, I wasn't feeling happy, etc., etc. Too many external factors with him. I think, sometimes we have to remember also, footballers are humans. This is not me making an excuse, by the way, but I feel like sometimes we forget at the end of the day, footballers are people. They are human. Yeah. So there's times where you might go to work, yeah, and you're sad. You're not in a good state mentally, etc. Do you perform to your best of abilities at work? No, you don't. And I know what people are going to say as a comeback. I know what you're going to say. They get paid millions. They get paid millions, but they are still human. Yeah, they are still human. So I think it's normal to have low moments in your career as a footballer or any sort of athlete, because at the end of the day, number one, the sacrifices that athletes make is huge. The sacrifices they make for their bodies, for their families, etc., is huge. That's the first thing. The second thing is that, again, I was gonna say money don't buy you happiness, but money doesn't change your mental state. It changes your life. But there's many people out there that got money that are miserable. So this is not me, by the way, defending footballers or anything. This is me just simply, I'd just like to reiterate, at the end of the day, people are human. And you know what? I can't imagine how easy it is. Bro, I sit here on YouTube, yeah? Or I've been on Sky Sports many a times before, yeah? And one of my lowest moments in my career, yeah, was being on TV and then being subject to racist and Islamophobic abuse from people online. 1, 2, 3 people online out of hundreds and thousands. But that's still the kind of things that impact you. So imagine me, I'm a common Nancy that's just living life as normal. Imagine being on TV every time, millions watching you around the world, being abused on. So, bro, it got to me mentally, yeah, just from like 2, 3 people. Imagine how different it is for footballers. And like I said, that's not me making excuses or anything, but we have to remember sometimes. Footballers are people at the end of the day. They have to. On a real, how much did Jesse ask for Saudi to tell? It's too much. I heard he asked for a crazy bag. I can't lie. I heard that he asked for a serious bag from Saudi. There was quite a few teams interested in him. Such as Al Ittifaq was interested in him. I think that was the main one that wanted him. But he asked for quite a big paycheck to move away from his family. I think family is quite important for him. Listen, guys, I have a question for you lot, because I've seen this debate flying around. Yeah. If you had one season, you played for the best club in the Premier League. Yeah. So say you were the Man City striker. Yeah. Do you think for £1 million, do you think you could score 5 goals in a season in the Premier League? Because my delusional self, I think I could. Put me in the WSL, I think I could bag 5 goals easy. I genuinely think that. But, my friends were saying to me I was being delusional, saying that I could come up against professional footballers that do it for a living and score 5 goals in a season for £1 million. And I'm just like, easy. I could do it easy. Big up to Julia, says, yes, Mina, but at the same time, there are a lot of examples of players that can overcome this. Don't get me wrong. I fully agree with your statement, and I'm a huge advocate for mental health. No, I totally agree that there's people out there that can overcome it, 100%. But I just think that, when When people say, oh, you know, he said he's not happy and he's not this, he's not that, he's not always going to be happy. And external factors will impact how you are. Like, any of you guys ever been heartbroken? Has the stream wasn't meant to be like this, but have any of you guys ever been heartbroken and you have to go to work and you're just at work and you're heartbroken? You don't even want to talk to anyone. You're miserable. I've never been heartbroken, so I couldn't tell you. But I always see this topic of discussion online where people say, oh, have you ever been heartbroken and you have to go to work? It's the same. I get why you can't. Bro's heartbroken right now. He's going through it. I fully agree, but that's what separates the elite players at the end of the day. Mbappe is definitely unhappy at PSG as well, but he stays being a superstar regardless. How many more years do we give? Mbappe is gone. If I have to watch another Mbappe saga this summer, yeah, and he ends up just staying at PSG after that, it's just a waste of time. It's just a waste of time. You lot are killing me. You lot are actually killing me. Mina, you don't realize how good even the bad players are. No way you scoring anything versus pros. Nah, put me in the WSL. I can score. Listen, put me in the WSL. I can score. I can get a hat trick. Guys, I'm not joking, man. But that's how delusional I am. That's how. By the way, I saw a clip of like a Premier League. What player was it? I seen a clip of a Premier League player playing five-a-side, and he just made it look so easily. He made it look so easy. He was an average Premier League player, but he made it look so easy. And the players that he was playing with all looked gassed out. Obviously, that's the difference in it between elite football. Like, at the end of the day, as much as we might not rate some players in the league or in the Premier League or in any league in a professional sport, we have to remember that they are professionals for a reason. You know, they're at the top of the top. But I still think I can do it in the WSL. I still convinced myself I could play with Messi and Neymar at the time. I genuinely believe if I was growing up in this generation, I would be a professional footballer. Like, I just feel like I grew up in the wrong era of football, basically. When I was growing up, women's football wasn't a thing. It was not a thing. I remember Rachel Yankee, who's one of the biggest English players. Yeah. She used to coach me football. That was her side job. She had a football foundation that she used to coach people. And she was a professional player. She would go play in the FA Cup final for Arsenal and win it, and then next day come and coach us. Whereas now, obviously, professional football in the women's industry is a lot bigger. So I feel like I could, if I was 16 right now in this day and age, I would be playing for an academy. Like, I fully believe that. I fully believe that. And that's how you guys know I am so delusional. Have you ever played Sunday League? Yes, I have. Yes, I have. Hat trick for Mina for the win. Absolutely. Really says not a hat trick. I genuinely think I genuinely think that, man. Rashford came up with something every season almost. It's so hard to be on his side. He's not a young adult anymore. He's fully grown up and needs to step up. He should have done that for a while now. It's unfortunate, but I just genuinely do not see him. And for that reason, I'm saying I don't see him leaving. Just like, obviously, for that reason. Obviously, Mina, let's keep it respectful. I've seen US women's national team get bodied by high school boys. I'm not going to deny that. But women footballers at for the level of women's football are still good, especially the US team. But guys, this just further proves my point. I grew up playing football with boys. Like, I grew up till today. Well, actually, no. Now there's more girls teams that I can go for, like, if I want to do a kickabout. But growing up, I was 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 playing football with boys in my neighborhood. And that's how I know, like, people always say, like, there's a lot of people from my area that I know. And they always, till today, they're like to me, oh, when are you going to come kick ball with us? I'm like, I'm too washed now. But one of the best women's footballer right now, still young, obviously, but she was playing football with boys from a young age. Lauren James absolutely smoked us. Bear Marley ballers in ends. Absolutely. I used to live right next to, I still live, actually, let me not say, never mind. I was about to say something, but there's somewhere that we play football. We used to play football growing up, and that's all I have to say. I can't even finish. I was just about to give it away because then it would give away where I live. This generation promotes choosing something else than becoming a doctor or lawyer. They know the pressure from parents. You know what? I kind of understand it, unfortunately, especially if you come from an ethnic background. I kind of get it, especially if you've come from an ethnic background that has come from war or something. You just want the best for your family, for your kids, etc. So that's why parents don't really look at it as a possible career path. And also, you have to get to being a professional footballer. Like, you, not just you, but your family have to make sacrifices for you. You know, I think it'll be difficult. The good thing is, like, if you live in London, there's a lot of academies in London that you can go and join. There's a lot of clubs that have academies in London. You know, if it's not the big Chelsea, Arsenal, Spurs, etc., then it's the Palaces, the QPRs, Brentfords, Fulhams. You know, there's a lot of other clubs here that you can go and play for at an academy level. And I feel like as generations go on, maybe that's why we'll probably see a lot more ethnic minority footballers, especially in the Premier League, just because, you know, especially like British English ones, we'll see it more because, you know, the parents by then, like, by the time I have kids, guys, Project Mbappe is starting from, if it's not Project Mbappe, it's Project Lauren James. Either way, they're being footballers. Doctor, I don't want to hear it. Lawyer, don't want to hear it. Accountant, don't want to hear it. Surgeon, don't want to hear it. Pilot, don't want to hear it. What other careers are ethnic parents obsessed with? They are there's all those careers that parents are obsessed with. Not gonna happen. Chemist, pharmacist, sorry, not gonna happen. Engineer, nah. You are from the day you come out of the womb, you are getting football boots put on your feet. You better be standing. You better be ready to run. You better be ready to run. I'm not joking. Like, I've got a lot of nephews, yeah. Unfortunately, none of them are Project Mbappe. Unfortunately, none of them are Project Mbappe. But I have a newborn nephew who's like 3 months, and I'm putting all my stocks in that. And then my other cousin has a son who's also like 5 months. I'm putting all my stocks in that. As soon as they start walking, as soon as you start walking, if you're old enough to walk, you're old enough to play football. It's as simple as that. Absolutely. It's just like that. There's this guy who calls his son Broski. He started Project Mbappe on day 1. Engineer, absolutely, facts, because they see the bread it makes. Yeah, them careers make money, but now that they see what football makes, listen, if you've got 7 kids, yeah, that's a big possibility that one could be a professional footballer. Of course, there's some families like the James family that they got Lauren James and Reece James, yeah. But if you sacrifice, you look at, if I was to have 7 kids, yeah, just hypothetically speaking, guys, I had 7 kids. I'm going to look at all 7 of them. Which one is the best one out of all of them? That's the one I'm putting all my stocks in. Oh, that one has football training and the other one's got tuition. Sorry, we're going football training. Off to football training we go. We can all sit in the car and we can, whilst it's raining outside, and just watch the training session. Sacrifices have to be made. Same applies for football for sure. It looks easy, but when facing someone of that ilk, you will be humbled. Even the reserve of the reserve has levels. Anyone that's played, I've seen people that have played in academies that have just not gone on to make it. They're still good. That's it. I've seen it. Mina's gonna make this one golden generation for men and women's national team. What about basketball? If I have tall kids, I'm gonna have to level it out. If my kid is like 6'5" and you're not very good with your feet, basketball it is. You're gonna see me lining up cones on the floor from 3 months. As soon as that baby learns tummy time, if you know what tummy time is, that means you've been around a lot of babies. I'm putting cones on the floor so that they can get used to that. Absolutely. Hear me out. The Football Manager field is less competitive. Project Pep, here we go. The difficult thing with someone just said 1-0 Chelsea. Oh yeah, I just saw the goal. Look at that. No Jackson and they score. The thing is with football managing is that I feel like it's like you have to have connections to football clubs. So the best way to do that is join an academy. If you don't make it in the academy, at least you got the connections. Let's get back to the main topic, guys. Sorry, let's get back to transfer talk. We're here talking about Project Mbappe and Project Lauren James and all of that stuff. The problem with United is that the focus on the commercial side has been a little too much. The mental issues get blown up more. Rashi is a player activist, poster child, no breathing space. Well, firstly, I think the activist stuff, it's not something that's pushed by the club. That's something he chose to do for himself. And you know what, guys? I see no fault in that, because as someone who has come from poverty, he's using his position to influence stuff. And I respect that. And I hate when people try actually like say, oh, you know, he's focused on doing this and he's focused on feeding the kids, and kids deserve to be fed. It shouldn't have to be Rashford fighting the government for it, but kids deserve someone to fight their corner. And if it's someone that has been in that situation that doesn't want other kids to be in that situation, then Marcus Rashford has all my respect. He has all my respect. However, from a footballing aspect, he's been a letdown. And I don't know if do you think it's too far-fetched to say that there's not a correlation between the two? Because I don't think there is. You know, you play football, you know, you train throughout a day. Yeah, you have training sessions throughout the week, etc. You play a game. I'm pretty sure there's time throughout that. I'm pretty sure you have time. I mean, no one says anything when flipping Jota is streaming on Foot Champs. Obviously, Liverpool be winning, but you have time to do stuff outside of playing football and training and all of that stuff. So I respect him for doing that stuff, because you know what? It's not easy. It's not easy, especially when in the UK, if you're not from the UK, the UK's got a stupid government. They've got a dumb government. From time they're saying kids don't deserve free school meals during the pandemic. And had they been, like, I think there was a statistic that was saying like over 50% of kids in schools were living under the line of poverty, and Marcus Rashford was trying to fight that. He's come from that. If you ever read or listen to his interviews talking about his come up, he talks about how his mum, single mum, worked the number of jobs that she did just to put food on the table for them, how many sacrifices she made just to make sure he could get to training and all of that kind of stuff. She put her stocks in him, and he doesn't want other kids to suffer. But from a football perspective, are people saying basically like, if you just focus on football, you'll be the best? Because is that what people are saying? There's a clear correlation. Football gave Rashford his platform. He's effing up the football. Even with Ten Hag having a say, we still made commercial signings and delayed deals like Casemiro and Anthony. We should never have signed either of them. That's not a problem for Rash. He can still proxy that if he wants to make a difference. The numbers Mason says, don't forget philosopher. Every celeb likes that one. There's definitely not a correlation, but we need to see him improve on the pitch. Mentally, he looks switched off. You know what it looks like to me? And I know this might just seem very far-fetched, and this is genuinely just from me making an observation. He looks like he's fell out of love with football. Like, he looks like he does not enjoy playing it. He looks like he does it as a chore. He comes on, he starts. He looks like to him it's a chore. And unfortunately, I feel like when you kind of get to that kind of position in football, it might be difficult to kind of get back into the mojo, you know? It looks like work to him. Basically, yeah, like when footballers enjoy playing football, it's not a job. They're doing what they love. But for him, it looks like it's become a chore and he doesn't enjoy it anymore. And I felt like that about Jadon Sancho at sometimes last season and this season as well, in the very small period of time that we saw him. So I just think like maybe if Rashford just doesn't do anything and just focuses on, you know, playing football, I don't know if that will make a heap of difference. I hope it would. But also I feel like there's probably things in his outside, like football is like this, isn't it? Like football's here. You've got outside factors correlating to your emotion and to your mood and to your mind state. So there could be other factors around the football world of his that are actually influencing, you know, his mindset. You know, it could be his family life. Obviously, we know about his relationship. He just looks like he's not enjoying himself. And unfortunately, when you're not enjoying yourself, when you do, what do they say? If you do what you love, you never have to work a day in your life. Very cheesy quote, but when you're not really enjoying yourself like that, I think it's kind of difficult to get back into the swing of it. Rashford still needs to respect the thing that gave him that platform. When he walks on the field, does it look like he's doing that? I think he needs to change something. He's done mentally. Yeah, I don't know what it is. The thing is, if I was to say my honest opinion about what Rashford needs to change, I don't know if a lot of people would agree with me, because I would say that I think he needs to change teams. I know he loves United and born and bred man can. I love his chant, by the way, that they do for him, but I genuinely feel like a change of scenery might do him well. And sometimes I feel like the way that he even plays, he just it's like he doesn't see anyone next to him and he just tries to run. So 90% of the time he ends up running into people. Unfortunately, that's what it looks like. That change teams and get off social media. I just don't know why he also always like replies to people. This is how I know he's on Twitter. He's active on Twitter because people don't even tag him and he'll reply to tweets. Like, to be honest, I didn't like his body language last year either. Didn't smile once last season with that dead celebration. That is a good set. It's so good they put it in FIFA. It's so good they put it in FIFA. Maybe it's time to leave and find that love again for football again. I agree. It could be time. And Grace, big up to Grace, says, who would you replace him with? Whew, that's a good one. That's a good one. I don't want to sit here and talk about who I would, because I don't want Rashford to leave. I wouldn't. Honestly, you lot might call me delusional, but you know, and I know I actually flip. I'm a flip flopper. Yeah, because I flip flop back and forth between 1 minute I'm saying he needs to leave, next minute I'm saying he needs to stay, next minute I'm saying he needs to leave. I got a love-hate relationship with Marcus Rashford, but I'm not even going to say who I would replace him with because it's not something I've really thought about. Big up to Sidaf says, for now, I see lots of talks such as players who are not performing will leave the club. The question is, will this be applied to everyone or will there still be players who are favoured? That's a good question. I'm going to go back to a question that Sidaf asked. Says it here. This has been a hot topic as well of recent, especially today. Every video I've seen on Manchester United YouTube space has been about this. What do you think about the comment made by Omar Barada on De Zerbi? I think the idea of De Zerbi coming to United is not far-fetched. I don't think so. Because I think that De Zerbi has gone into Brighton that have a system in place. They've got structure in place and he's slotted in. He hasn't had a clean slate basically all season in terms of performances. He hasn't had Brighton haven't been amazing, but they've been good enough and they've been good. And the most important thing is that they've got a way of playing. So the comments about De Zerbi doesn't really shock me. It doesn't really shock me. And I do feel like if United did let go of Ten Hag, I do think that they would go for a manager who's got something Premier League, like some Premier League experience. Yeah, that's what I think anyway. Let me know what you guys think in the chat. But let me actually pull up the exact quotes of what Barada said about De Zerbi. Let me find the exact quotes. I mean, I can't really find the exact quotes. I have to go on Twitter. I don't want to go on Twitter. That's too long. That is too long. But I did see it earlier today. And, you know, to me, if you said to me, De Zerbi, I'll be honest. If you said to me, De Zerbi, Potter, I know who I'm taking. I absolutely know who I'm taking. Absolutely. Let me know who you lot are taking, Potter or De Zerbi. Hypothetical, of course. Hypothetical. The left winger from Napoli, the Georgian. Oh, I can't even pronounce his name. But someone said it here. There you go. Sidaf said it here. Let me see what you... Do we deserve De Zerbi, though? That is an uncle joke. That is such a... Lil Yo-Yo really showing his age. Lil Yo-Yo really showing his age. Pyramid Scheme says, we deserve 10 years. We've watched rubbish ball for a decade. I can't believe it's been a decade. De Zerbi wants to play a double pivot. Then let's get here. I'm sick of these 210s with no defensive capabilities. Big up to David says, De Zerbi wouldn't excite me, though. Who would you prefer then in that case? Dipesh says, Inzaghi is the one United should go for. Lil Yo-Yo says, I'm taking neither. Super Scud says, Mina, what if we got Zidane and Mbappe on a free? Is Zidane coming to play in our midfield? If Zidane is coming to play in our midfield, because what do you mean we're getting Zidane on a free? Obviously, I assume you mean as a manager, but I don't think Zidane's ever joined in Manchester United. I don't think Zidane's ever joined, but if he's probably better than what we got in midfield anyway. Potter is the darkest timeline. Right, get me Neil Warnock. What a troll. What a troll. You lot are laughing about the Zidane thing. Pyramid Ski says Zidane benches Bruno. Leave Bruno alone, man. Big up to Julian says, after a lot of battering in the Eric Ten Hag time, are you guys ready for what's coming with Italian? Because he plays that style, and if it doesn't work, are the supporters ready for that? That's a good question. That's a good question. The thing is, though, I feel like with the whole Ten Hag thing, and if I was hypothetically on De Zerbi right now, I feel like if United were losing, but De Zerbi was playing a style of football, or like if the season was going the way that it is right now, but we're playing a certain style of football that is identifiable with the way that the manager wants, then I don't think people would be as riled up. I think people will be riled up because you don't want your team to lose, especially after spending 250 million in a transfer window, or 220 million. I think people would be angry regardless. But I think there would be a bit more leeway because you'd be like, oh, you see, he needs the players, or you can see the style of football, you can see the patterns, you can identify it. The manager's getting the best out of the players. The results are just not going our way. People make up more excuses, but I think the excuses are very thin because they're not performing and they're not getting results and there's no style of play. I've seen Brighton hold goals. That's the thing. There's been games that I've watched of Brighton that I've seen them hold goals, but I think that they have a consistent, a regular style of football, even with the changes in injury. They still got a style of football to play, and I think that's what excites people. De Zerbi, I think, premature at Brighton. It kind of reminds me of the Potter thing, where Potter left Brighton, I think, prematurely to go to Chelsea. But I'm not surprised that Ineos could be leaning towards the idea of having De Zerbi at Manchester United. Like, honestly, I'm not really too surprised with that. Sidorf says Antonio Conte, wouldn't touch him with a barge pole. I'm not gonna lie, I rate him. I think he's a good manager, but not at United. Not at United. I see him doing the walk like he did at Spurs at some point as well. Hansi Flick, you lot are just naming any manager that's available at this point. You lot are just naming any manager that's available. Mina, do you rate Marco Silva from Fulham? I think he's all right. I wouldn't say I rate him. I think he's all right. Someone said it's 2-0 Chelsea. Enzo just scored, but my stream is a couple seconds behind. So I want to see that goal. I've seen Enzo been getting cooked lately as well. One thing I never understand with the Ten Hag in crowd is how do they blame the Glazers' decision-making for our current issues when Eric Ten Hag is clearly on those issues. Mason says, I'm taking him over De Zerbi. I think that's in reference to, I don't know who that's in, Hansi Flick maybe. I think that's in reference to, but you guys know what it is, man. Another transfer talk. Touched on the little bit of money that Saudi got to spend. By the way, wait, Chelsea have just scored 2 goals in the 6-yard box this game. But they're doing a good job. They're doing a good job of putting the ball in the net. And just like that, they're up 2-1 on aggregate, meaning they might have booked themselves a space in the Carabao Cup final. But big up to everyone. You lot know what it is. Another transfer talk. We had a little bit to talk about the SPL, the Saudi Investment Fund, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, all them guys. Half of our team basically are linked to a move to Saudi Arabia. You guys know what it is. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. I've been very inconsistent this month with streams, guys. I have been very, very inconsistent, but that will change. That changes this week. You guys, you know what it is. You know what it is. I promise I'm going to be consistent. And if I'm not consistent, you lot can hold me to that. We're not too far away from 3K. So hopefully, the goal is to get to 3K before my birthday. And my birthday is in less than a month. So hopefully I get to 3K before my birthday. But we've got a stream coming tomorrow. We've got a watch along Manchester Women's Derby. After we got embarrassed on the weekend, and they've already beat us. Man City have already beat us this season, but we've got another vibe along, and hopefully that will be a good one. And we've got obviously streams coming throughout the week. Saeed will be on here, Marcel will be on here, Nuruddin will be on here. Anybody else that you guys want, be sure to drop it in the comments, and I will try my best to get them on here as well. Big up to everyone, man. You guys know what it is. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. You can join the membership club. It's the pinned comment in the chat. You get your badges, you get your emojis, you get your custom member content, and of course you get to support the growth of the channel. Until tomorrow, I'll be back. You lot know what it is. Let me find out. Mina, is Aqua? I am Aquarius, but also I don't really believe in star signs, but I am Aquarius. Big up to Riri, and big up to everyone else in the comments as well. Thank you for sticking around. If you came from the AFCON stream, that was a fun one, and we'll be back tomorrow with a vibe along. Be sure to turn on your post notification, guys, because I think YouTube are bugging lately. They're bugging lately. People are not getting notified when I go live. So turn on your notifications so when I do go live, you get notified and you can come through. You can follow me on all socials below, right there, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all of that stuff. You know what it is. As always, I'll be back tomorrow. I hope you have a wonderful evening, guys. Peace.